Suki. How are you?
Morning. I'm doing great.
Good.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Brandy. Morning, Maisha.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Got Tanya. Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning, everyone.
What do you think, Erin? Give it another minute, see if more folks show up.
Yeah, I think one more minute.
Okay. I hope everyone's planning on a restful weekend. Maisha's like, yes. Brandy's like, let's rest.
Sooner the better. We've got a few more hours before the weekend can start. So
Yeah.
At least it's a little cooler today.
Thank goodness.
It's been
Yes.
awful.
Like a blowtorch out there. I moved from Texas not long ago, and I thought I left all of that behind. Y'all could have warned me.
Is the humidity worse there, Suki?
It felt about the same, honestly. No, it's worse there for sure. Yeah, but it was getting there.
This week has been, an anomaly of hot. So
At least it's an anomaly.
But it's better than the 20-degree weather and the snow and ice. So I'll take it any day.
Okay, I'll stop complaining about it. You're right.
Well, looks like maybe this is our crew today, Suki.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to spend our time generally focus on the summary that's been drafted for the annual report. I sent it out. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to review it, but we're going to do that together today anyways. And the hope is that you will be actively listening, actively reading, thinking about as we're going through it. Hopefully it'll jog your memory about the meetings that you had and what you heard. And if there's something that catches your eye, you're like, oh yeah, that was important. And I remember it. I remember this standing out more, or we need to put more emphasis on that. Like, let me know. I definitely want to strengthen where it needs strengthened, take less of the shine off where it doesn't need to be, that kind of thing. In general, they've been relatively accurate. So just, let me know as we go through it, anything that needs to be clarified or key points. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll just kind of walk through it that way. It seems to have been the best way to do it so far. So let me pull this together. It's from the drive, which you'll have access to. Okay. Youth rehab services. So as y'all remember, we walked through the template. They all share this beginning piece with the work group co-chairs and members. So this all looks the same on all of the summaries, just who's involved, who's in this work group. And then we get into the objectives and approach. Early on, you all talked about what you wanted your work group to do and accomplish. So this work group was established to evaluate and strengthen the continuum of rehabilitative services available to youth involved in Maryland's juvenile justice system. Its charge includes examining diversion, community supervision, treatment, while in placement and reentry support with the goal of identifying effective strategies and gaps in service delivery. The group's approach has been rooted in inquiry, collaboration, and integration of cross-disciplinary expertise. Members have reviewed presentations from state officials, researchers, and service providers, explored evidence-based and emerging practices, and coordinated efforts with commission work groups to ensure alignment. The group intentionally defined its scope as focus on secondary and tertiary prevention interventions that occur after initial system contact, such as diversion from court processing, alternatives to detention. Welcome, Andrea. Alternatives to detention, placement-based treatment, and post-disposition support. This distinction from the Commission's prevention work group, which focuses on primary prevention and upstream interventions, has allowed the Youth Rehabilitation Services work group to concentrate its efforts on the service landscape for youth already navigating the justice system. A key feature of the group's strategy will be its collaboration with DJS to contribute to a statewide scan of community-based rehabilitative services designed to assess availability, quality, equity across Maryland's region. So that's our objectives and overview. It's wordy. It's a lot. You guys have a lot that you are trying to wrap your arms around. Does this sound accurate to you all? We're thinking about these secondary and tertiary prevention interventions after initial system contact. Does this seem accurate? Anything popping out to you that is inaccurate or a red flag or anything? It's open to discussion. Erin gives a
well written.
Okay. All right. So the meetings and activities today, these paragraphs just go through what you've seen and what you've heard in the months since you've gotten started. And you've done quite a bit. When I mentioned at the commission meeting a few weeks back, the impressive amount of work and what you've learned, this accounts for a lot of it. So you've met 4 times between January and April, with meetings held virtually on a bi-monthly schedule. At your first meeting in January, you received an extensive overview from DGS Secretaries Lisa Gary and Adina Levi on a series of programs designed to support youth who are post-disposition or placed outside the home. Included Thrive Passport, and other enhanced supervision through credible messengers for youth at highest risk for involvement. Other programs were included Access, supporting youth returning from the adult criminal system, and Embrace, designed for younger adolescents. You learned about the role of pending placement units in detention facilities, which enable youth to begin treatment services while awaiting a residential bed, and then underscored the importance of continuity in behavioral health services, and the damaging impact of placing youth in adult facilities. This piece in particular really aligns, I'm just saying this out loud, not reading, with trends from other groups, especially this continuity, and especially the damaging impact of youth placed in adult facilities. The processes work group is building out a 2-pager on noncompliance, where it concerns specifically placing youth in adult facilities. So we'll have a piece at the end of this about emerging trends throughout the work group. So lots of alignment being built throughout the year. At the second meeting on February 28th, members introduced themselves at length. You heard from Maisha Davis, who's here, about additional context in the DGS's vision for a robust, regionally responsive continuum of care, and explained how OJJDP is supporting the the agency's efforts through a planning grant, which is great. The work group affirmed its role in shaping the direction of the statewide service scan, particularly in identifying questions, indicators, and potential data sources to ensure the needs of youth families and communities are reflected. And then we went into March. You heard from Maryland's youth service bureaus with a presentation from Dr. Park. And then there's a bit about what the YSBs are. So we want to inform the public as well. 3 jurisdictions, they started in 10, of vital community-based providers offering a range of services such as family counseling, mentoring, educational support, mental health interventions. And where they are found in the COMAR under DJS as diversion services, and work with youth and their families to prevent further contact. Okay, and then the group discuss opportunities to expand awareness. This report itself is one of those opportunities, but particularly in jurisdictions that may not currently have them or are under leveraging their potential. And then we raised the possibility of integrating this discussion to the broader statewide scan and developing a survey to identify known and unknown programs throughout Maryland. And then in April, U of M's Institute of Innovation and Implementation shared its approach to continuous quality improvement, CQI, and service evaluation, with presenters demonstrating how the Institute collects and analyzes and shares that information on evidence-based program implementation and access, and helping providers and agencies improve fidelity and outcomes. And then they shared their dashboards and maps and highlighted regional disparities. And then members had a discussion and reflected on how infrastructure could support a more coordinated and transparent and equitable system. So again, a lot happened in those first 2 months. And then in May, I met with the co-chairs, and then here we are in June. And then, of course, this is just a rehash of all of the before stated presentations and resources that you had. And then the key themes that have emerged through the discussions. First, the use of credible messengers to support youth at high risk settings shows early promise, but must be coupled with structural support, professional development, and long-term sustainability planning. Second, youth placed in adult jails often lose valuable time and access to services, with research and stakeholder experience suggesting these placements increase them harm and recidivism. Third, behavioral health services must be consistent across facility and community context, with a strong emphasis on more handoffs and continuity of care post-release. Fourth, lack of transportation, especially in rural areas. It's come up a lot on the Eastern Shore in Western Maryland, presents a serious barrier to rehabilitative services. And lastly, members underscore the need for better regional mapping of service providers, eligibility criteria, and youth access points. I will pause here. So we've looked at these emerging themes and what you all have done. Is there anyone that you remember hearing from or want to put more shine on, or any themes that you all are thinking about that are not accounted for? And again, you all have a full month to sit with this and look at it. This is not the last time we'll discuss this. We have our next meetings on July 28th, and we will review any last changes that y'all have. So just FYI. Been anything standing out now? I say take silence as silence as acceptance. Thanks, Minaza. Okay. All right. So your outputs and work products. We're still in our early phases. You've already contributed significantly to the shaping of DJS's service scan. has identified priority regions for inquiry, proposed a framework for identifying service gaps, and begun curating a list of additional experts and local leaders to inform the work. The group has also provided feedback on evaluation design, helped ensure that voices of local providers and youth advocates will be reflected in future deliverables. And your next steps in your coming months, you'll receive formal presentation from DJS's Continuum Coordinator, Munaza here, on the initial findings of the service scan. It'll host additional presentations from local credible messenger networks, youth service bureaus, and local management boards. The group will continue to examine regional service disparities, make recommendations for program expansion and investment, aims to explore how to support the professionalization of the credible messenger workforce, including training, certification pathways, long-term career development. And then we have some reflections. Early discussions have reinforced a successful rehabilitation is rooted in relationships, consistency, and access. Maryland's efforts to build a more robust rehabilitative continuum must account for the structural realities of youth and families, such as geography, transportation, racial disparities, funding gaps, while elevating models at work. And we've named a few. And creating a youth justice system that truly centers rehabilitation will require not only program development, but a cultural shift in how agencies collaborate with communities, recognize lived experience, and share power. So that is our brief. And it seems like it does a fair job of accounting for your activities and your reflections. But again, you have a full month to sit with this and play with words and wordsmith and all of that. But Erin, do you want to, are there any feedbacks from you? Anything you want to go back and look at or lead folks in discussing?
I think from my perspective, it does a really good job of summarizing all of the work that we've done so far. And I also appreciate the next steps that were included here. I'm open. I'd love to hear from other members of the work group and hear their thoughts.
I think it's really well written.
Share.
Oh, go ahead, Brandy.
I was just going to add that it is what Tanya was saying. It is well written. Some of the things that are addressed, I feel like in the criminal justice services, we have grants under STOP that provides funding for some of these things with youth. And some of the key things that we're talking here, some of the jurisdictions are doing. So I think that is, like reaching out to those jurisdictions and keeping track of the data of what they're doing, like helps to push forward these goals that we have here. And the other thing is the youth that's in detention centers or jails. A focus of that I often wanted, that was brought up in another work group, was that there's youth in detention centers and jail settings that need MOU treatment, but because they're under the age of 18, they cannot get MOUD treatment. So that's another concern as well that, under that detention setting should be focused on. So just wanted to share that.
Brandy, I think those are helpful. And I think to your first point, maybe that's something that could go in the next steps of like other things to explore. Like, Brandy hasn't had a chance to present. So maybe that's something that we could mention as just to acknowledge that there is work going on that we want to continue to share with the group and explore. Might be a nice addition.
Okay, for sure. I will absolutely add that to next steps.
I had a thought also. I see in the next steps to host like local credible messenger networks and youth service bureaus and local management boards. Just internally, it'd be great if that happened earlier or sooner than my presentation, for example, because I'm trying to get more connected to those entities, like local management boards and youth service bureaus, to just to understand like what all they're doing and what all they need as a part of my continuum scan. So just curious on timeline as far as like how we can like if that's reasonable to try to host them a little sooner than my presentation.
Yeah, you were set up for sometime later in the year. We haven't decided on a date for you because I know that you're still working on it. So you're not scheduled. So we can certainly plan for that. I don't see why we wouldn't. So yeah, let me start to make out those requests, but I'll also speak with the co-chairs and because we've got other presentations in mind too. So let us put our minds together, our brains together, and make sure that works with the calendar and get you in the sequence there.
Sounds good.
Any other comments here? Well, I'm glad this seems to be working for y'all. It's been the trend. The summaries seem to be going well for folks. So I'm going to stop sharing there so we can see each other's faces. But this is good. We're off to a good start then. So our next steps again are for y'all to, I'm going to make these small changes in this next steps section. And y'all will notice them in the coming days. And again, you have a full month to sit with this. We'll meet again on the 28th. And we'll also have a presentation that day. I believe it will be the Governor's Office of Children that day that will come in and present to us on their Enough program. And we will also be thinking about these other youth boards and other groups that are of youth service bureaus and local management boards and groups like that. But Aaron, we will meet in the interim and discuss that as well. Moving ahead of that, we'll get these summaries done, and then we will have the report completed by October 1st, according to our deadline. So I think that everything is going to go according to that plan as well. I think this is just going to be a short meeting. I won't keep y'all because this went very well and quickly. Aaron, is there anything else that's on your mind that you need to share with the group?
I don't think so. The only question I had, so I know the report's due in October, and then will the report be shared on the commission website? Like what's the process for dissemination of the report?
Yeah, we'll have to go to the governor and the legislature October 1st, and it will be on the GoCap website as well, along with all of our other reports.
Great.
Yep, it'll be easy to find. And yeah, there will be we have, again, that non-compliance 2-pager that will be shared out with the commission, and the public education group is starting to think about some of their marketing, their outside collateral. So you'll probably be hearing from them about how they can start sharing out some of your findings. They're really trying to start being that backbone for the other work groups so that the work that you're doing is more seen as well. So more of that to come in the coming weeks and months.
Great.
I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing some echo from on my end. I have a question regarding the presentations that happened earlier. I may not have been at these meetings, so where would I find like the CQI dashboards and the NAEKC Foundation data? Is that on the website that has like the minutes, or is that on those organizations' respective websites? It's under the.
Yeah, they should be in the meeting materials on our website. If they aren't, if they didn't give us hard copies, then they'll likely be on their website, but if they're not, we can follow up with you on that. But I'll have to double check that with you too. But I would suspect that if they gave us a hard copy of their presentation, they'll be part of our meeting materials. I wasn't here for those either, so I can't fully say.
I think that's correct. Yeah. And just a reminder, Munaza, if you did want to go back and watch those meetings, they're available on the GoCap YouTube channel too.
Got you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, you've got your 34 minutes back. I thank you all again for your input on this and for your eyes on it and for being here and being present. And I wish you a happy weekend.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suki.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.